happen.
No, it hasn't. Still waiting.
All right, just as a heads up, we're live now, so anything you
I'll
don't.
keep my shirt on.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say the work discussion probably will not do that then. So
it's part of the keeping the shirt on.
Yeah.
We were talking about in-game. I mean, what were you talking about?
Yeah, man. Well, I am going to do a one-shot called Office World where it's going to be a corporate battle.
I get enough of that, like my day job.
Yeah.
How in the world are you going to
do
that?
So my plan is
I calculate 2 faster than you, I win.
Yeah. Well, no. So I'm going to put it in a modern fantasy setting. So still you have orcs and elves and fairies and all that stuff, but like it's a modern, like an Onward kind of. So it's a modern world.
I was about to say Onward, man.
Yeah. So, but like you'll be battling like office politics and stuff. So like, I think ultimately what will happen is like your group of people work in a certain department and someone you absolutely hate has like screwed over the department and gotten like they're going like to get a promotion, and so you're trying to stop the promotion. So you have to like work your way up the building, and you'll face various different office archetypes in battle to get to the top to stop this promotion from happening.
I have enough of that. Normally, I don't need it. Oh man.
Do I need to separately join the Twitch stream to like see the chat room and?
You can. You can. You won't see the chat here. So I mean, you can go to Twitch if you want. It's Mechpics, MECHPICS, if you're on Twitch. So, what's up, Christopher? Can you hear us?
Yeah, hear you guys just fine.
Great. Oh yeah, you got some nice audio. You sound
Christopher, can you hear us? Yeah, hear you guys just fine. Great. Oh yeah, you got some nice audio. Yeah. Christopher, can you hear us? Yeah, hear you guys just fine. Great.
Oh, we get some feedback there from somebody.
Like crazy feedback.
Oh, we get some feedback there from somebody.
Like crazy feedback.
Uh-oh, that might be me. Hold on.
Do you have a headset by any chance?
I don't have a headset. I definitely have headphones.
Yeah, headphones. I mean, that would work. That would just keep the audio from looping back in.
Okay. One moment.
Yeah, sure. All right. Cool. Good deal. Wow.
Check.
Yep. Yeah, Chris, this is Joel. Joel, Chris. I think y'all have met before.
Hey, man, how's it going?
Via BFG.
Yep.
Once upon a time in the very beginnings.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yep. It's the good old days when we were having fun and losing money.
I'm sorry. I wanted that to work so bad for you guys.
Oh God, I did too. It was sort of like it was my midlife crisis. I just wish. I think if we had run another 3 or 4 more years, we probably would have started hitting that break-even point. But I just couldn't financially float it anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just as you know, we are live, so we're gonna get things started as soon as Jeff returns. Any class questions? Any more class questions while we're waiting?
Not yet.
Okay, cool. I'll go over the moves list, the basic moves list, and sort of general flow of the game and stuff like that. So, just as a heads up for you guys, my friend Dusty, who's supposed to be joining us, he's got some obligations that's holding him up right at the moment. So he will either be in end of session or the beginning of next session. So when that happens, we'll do a quick character introduction and stuff with him. So
that sounds good.
Yep. All right, Jeff, can you hear us?
Indeed, I can.
Sweet. Good deal. All right.
Oh, don't hear feedback. That's good.
Yeah, good. Yep. All right. So, first of all, thank you guys for playing so much. I'm excited. This will be our 3rd mini campaign with the Dungeon World system, and all set in the same universe. So as far as how the game works, you have some a basic moves list. If you don't have that printed out, you can look at that in the PDFs that I posted. But the basic moves are hack and slash. You're going to do that anytime you want to do sort of some melee damage. So if you're like, oh, I attack the orc, then it's like, oh, cool. Roll 2d6 and plus whatever modifier is appropriate for your character, and we'll see how that turns out. You also have volley. That's anytime you want to do any range damage. So if you shoot an arrow, throw a rock, if you toss a coin at someone's face, you're gonna use volley. Then you have parlay. Parlay is when you have leverage on a character and you want them to do something. There's some moves about that. You'll roll that usually with charisma. You have Defy danger. Anytime something you've triggered a trap, or rocks are falling on you, or something to that thing. Let's say you wanted to run and attack an enemy, but you have to pass some obstacle to do it. You're going to roll Defy danger to do that. And depending on how you want to defy danger is depending what modifier you're going to roll with. If you're going to do it with brute strength, you're going to roll strength. If you're going to sort of dodge and weave, you're going to do that with dexterity. So it just depends on how you work it, and that's up to you. You can say how you want your character to do that. You have defend. If you want to sort of defend someone else, that's the move for that. Discern realities. When you go into an area or you want to inspect something, you'll use discern realities. You'll say, I want to know more about this. I want to inspect this, or what do I notice about this? And you'll roll on that. Spout lore is when you think your character might know something about a certain situation. Now, there is some give and take with that, because if you're like, oh yeah, I totally know about this hidden tomb that no one's ever seen before, that's a no-go, right? Because no one's ever seen it before, so you can't know anything about it really. But if your character can know something about that, then it triggers the move, and then you'll roll for it to see if you have some past information about it. And then you have aid and interfere. Aid and interfere is when you want to help a character, one of your fellow characters, or if you want to interfere with one of your fellow characters. So you'll roll 2d6 like with anything else, but the modifier for that is going to be with bonds. So however many bonds you have with that character is what the modifier is, to aid or interfere with their actions. There are some advanced moves. A lot of these we will likely not use. There's last breath. That's what happens when you die. Hopefully we don't have to use that, but if we do, if you get a successful roll, you're not dead. You're just critically wounded. If you get sort of that 7 to 9, that likely scenario range, you'll be offered an option to come back or not die, but you're going to have to give something up, whether you lose an arm, or you give up a piece of your soul, or you give up your quest for whatever it is you're questing for. There'll be a consequence for coming back. And then on a 6-, you die, but there is a contingent. You die at the time of the GM's choosing. So I could choose to say, you're dying, but like you have enough fight in you to maybe finish the battle, right? So encumbrance, that's when you have like too much stuff. Like I said, that's not going to be much of a risk. Making camp, so that's if you're going to rest. You've got a time period where you want to do your spells or anything like that. We'll be using making camp. There's take watch. That's when something's approaching camp. That's more camp to do. Bolster is when you're spending leisure time in meditation or practice. Supply, when you go to buy something, like at a market or whatnot. Undertake a perilous journey. If for some reason you have to travel a lot of distance and we don't want to like play that out moment by moment, we can use undertake a perilous journey. So if you trek across the desert and we don't want to like actually take the time to flesh out every minute of that desert, you can do that, and there's some rolls in there to say what might have happened during that time period. Recover is when you're doing nothing but resting and in comfort and safety. Carouse is basically you're throwing a party, like a triumphant party. Recruit is like recruiting a hireling. We're not going to be using that for this session. Then you have end of session. We'll do that at the end of the campaign to result in any leveling up or anything like that. Level up is part of the end of session. And then outstanding warrants. So if you go somewhere and you cause trouble, it's possible you might have a warrant out in that area. The way the experience works in this game is every time you roll a 6-, so every time you roll a failing roll, you'll gain 1 point of experience. This game rewards you for failing because we learn from our failures. In Dungeon World, you are if you're a ranger or you're a wizard, you're an adventurer. You're expected to be good at your job. So when you get a good roll, we're getting experience for that. It's when you get a bad roll and you're learning from that experience that you take, that you get that. And to level up, it's 7 plus your level experience. So you guys are level 1 with the exception of Joel, who's carried his character forward from the last campaign. He's level 2. But you'll carry your experience forward to level up to level 2. In your guys' cases, I think it'll be 8. So 8 points of experience. Any questions so far regarding any of that?
Nope.
All right, cool. All right, so And as I had sort of briefly explained before, there's no movement speed, so you'll move in ways that make sense. You know, if you're like, oh, I'm sort of near this enemy, I'm going to attack it. You're just going to go ahead and attack it. We're not going to count spaces or anything like that. The only time that maybe you wouldn't do that. Let's say I say, oh, you know, you're standing, you know, 50 yards away from the enemy. If you're like, oh, I go attack them, and you're like, okay, cool, but that's going to take like some time. You know, we're going to see what someone else is doing while you're doing that. So, and then turn order is basically if somebody says, hey, I'm doing this, then I'm going to go to you, and you're going to do that, and I'm just going to kind of systematically move through your characters, and sort of turn order will be assigned as you're doing things. You kind of cycle through, and as it makes sense. A lot of the story will be predicated on the answers that you give when you're introducing your characters. I'm going to start asking questions. I'm going to ask you sort of like name, age, class, gender, appearance. I'm going to ask you a little bit about your past. You know, I might ask you where you've gotten a certain weapon or about your culture. And the answers to those questions are going to sort of build the rest of the campaign. We'll probably spend about the first 45 minutes to an hour introducing our characters and asking questions. And then after that's done, you're going to fill out bonds. So after everyone has introduced their characters, you're going to have listened to what they've said, and then you have a bond section on your sheet, and it'll say things, you know, like blank will play an important, you know, role in the events to come, and you put someone's name in there. And when you say that, then I'm going to ask you about it, or I'm going to ask that person about it. So I'm just like, oh, well, what does that mean? Or I'm going to ask that person, oh, what do you think that means? Now, there are some pre-written bonds. There's also lines, though. You can write in your own bonds. You don't have to use the pre-written. So there's that as well. You should fill out between 3 and 4 bonds. You can have more than one bond with a person. All of your bonds could be about one person. Also, coming forward, an important note about Joel's character. Joel's character has only arrived in the present about 6 months ago. So any bond that you have with Joel's character will have only been in the last 6 months. So, and I'll leave it up to his character whether or not he informs you why that's the case. So, I guess we'll, unless there's any more questions, we'll go ahead and get started. Good.
Cool.
All right. Cool. We'll start with Joel. Joel, what is your character's name and age?
All right, so my character's name is Mist, and he doesn't really know how old he is.
Yep.
I'm at least 200 plus.
Right. Right. But 200 of those years you didn't actually live through. You were fast.
That's correct.
You were flash forward in time. And then what is your class, race, and gender?
All right, so my class, I'm a thief.
Yep.
My race is human mostly.
Yeah.
It's hard to discern, but when you look at me, you see mostly human features.
Yep.
And I don't know. What else do you want to know?
Okay. Yeah. Well, your character is partially something else, and it is recently discovered. You can decide whether or not the character shares that or not. For the meta, so your other character. You guys' characters may or may not know, depending on what he shared. His character is also half dryad, but that's only player knowledge, not character knowledge at this moment. Right. So, and then your gender is male?
Yes.
Yep. All right, and if you could describe your look to us.
Sure. Pretty lanky, about 6 foot,
yep.
Wear a cloak. I don't always wear the hood, but it's there if I want it.
Yep.
That's about it, man.
Yep. All right. And what weapon are you using?
I use a rapier that I believe I got off the last campaign, and it was called the Mithril rapier.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. All right. Cool. And how's that look? Is it pretty shiny or?
No, it's dark black and pulses orange every once in a while.
All right. Cool. Cool deal. Nice. And as a human. What was the culture that you remember as being human? Obviously, it may not be the same now, but as you were coming up before the time leap, what was the human culture like?
So before the time leap, human culture was pretty normal. You know, you had some good people, you had some bad. You could walk out in the open, and people were everywhere. You go to bars and say hello, and it was pretty relaxed. You know, you had a little bit of a crime element to it, but mostly it was a good place to live and a lot of good people.
Yep. And do you subscribe to any religion?
I do not.
Yep. And you're a thief. What's your alignment?
I hold that to my own.
Yep.
That is for me to know.
That makes sense. And so let's talk a little bit about your past real quick. Your parents. Tell me about them.
Well, I only knew my mother for a short time,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I was younger, she disappeared,
Yep.
and I was on my own
Mm-hmm.
as a street urchin, and that is where I got dropped into being a thief into the
Yep.
guild.
Yep.
And as far as my father goes, I only recently found out who he was, but as a child and growing up, for most of it, I had no idea who he was.
Yep.
So,
All right. And where's your mother now?
I'd prefer not to say.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool.
It's still pretty hits hard.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. And so what's your financial status at the moment?
I'm rich.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. You are. And so you've been back for about 6 months. What have you been doing with your time in that 6 months?
Honestly, it's very different. It's not what I remember.
Yep.
And that bothers me. I like to know everything, and
Yep.
I'm a very cautious thief, and
Yep.
I only do things that I know I can do.
Yep.
And so for the last 6 months, I've been in the shadows watching
Yeah.
and trying to figure out this new world.
Yep. And as I shared before in our private chat, but not publicly, and so for those watching, the world that we're in is sort of at the end of a 200 years sort of war on magic. The Minotaurs, along with the dwarves, are sort of banded together to create this sort of imperial-esque government. Think Star Wars maybe a little bit. And they're sort of wiping out magic users and magical creatures and holding magic just for themselves. Their purpose is not necessarily clear, other than that they just seem to really hate magic a lot. And there was a rebellion, but it maybe in sort of the last 2 or 3 years has been mostly squashed out. But their power does seem to be faltering, wavering. They do seem to be losing their grip, and it's an unforeseen force that's doing that. And we don't quite know what that is at the moment. And so that's sort of where the world stands. There's not a lot of fey creatures left. They do still exist, but they're either in hiding or, pretty sparse and dispersed. So that's sort of where we are in the world. Now, are there any other notes about your character you'd like to share at this moment?
Not particularly about me, but seeing how you've just given that background, my only experience with what technically is going on right now, I can tell you I've run into Minotaurs before, and my experience is not good. They're mostly buttheads.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, cool. Sounds good. All right. Chris,
Hello.
what is your character's name and age?
All right, my character's name is Phineas Flannery Funderburk, and I go by Finn because most people don't want to say the entire thing.
Cool. Yeah, that's good.
I like Finn.
Could you throw that down in chat, just spelling wise, so if anybody wants to write it down, they can.
You got it.
Yep. Be good to have.
Very much so.
Yep. All right, cool. And then there it is. Yep. Wow. Triple F. Yep. So
Alliteration's great.
yeah.
My age is 127. I am male,
Okay.
and I am elf, though I try to hide any elven features under a thick cloak and hood.
Okay, cool.
Because obviously it's not something that I want to advertise.
Yeah. And what's the sort of average lifespan of an elf nowadays?
I imagine that most elves in fantasy worlds would live to be around 600 or so.
Okay.
But
Well, so as I step back for a moment, one of the beauties of Dungeon World is that there's no predetermined information about races until you tell them to me. So you can sort of, if you tell me that elves look like Keebler elves, that's okay, right? You can sort of tell me what an elf is. And we do have some information about
Cool.
elves. We have an elf that has existed in this world, but that was a few years back. They were, I think, around 100, and that was fairly young for them, though. So, okay. So at 127, you'd say your character was pretty young?
Yeah. Still
Elf-wise.
kind of starting out and adventuring and still kind of naive to the world.
Yeah, great.
Yep.
Okay. And you're a wizard, you said?
I did not say, but yes, I am a wizard.
Okay, cool. Yes. All right, great. And then what do you look like?
Let me see. I am about 5'8". My body looks like I've got kind of like a jogger's build. Not really a lot of muscle mass, but just really lean.
Okay.
So I'm definitely not strong, but lithe at least.
Right.
Sharp green eyes. They shine kind of like emeralds.
All right.
And I have wild, long, fairly wavy and unkempt red hair.
Okay.
So kind of went with a Celtic thing with the Fae on this one.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And I wear some worn robes. It's intentionally worn, frayed, just to make myself not stand out as much, with
Right.
over large hood to help obscure any of my physical features.
Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. And do you look fairly typical as an elf, or do you look different from other elves?
I would say I look like the average elf, but since elves are being hunted down, I don't know how common that would be for most people. So,
Right.
but I guess I look like your average elf.
Okay. All right. Cool. And is the red hair a typical elf hair color?
Not typical, but not uncommon.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Do you have a soul? No, I'm kidding.
I have a few.
Okay. Nice.
Are we trading something? I don't know.
Nice. All right. Cool. And what kind of weapon are you using?
I have a. What did I write down here? I have a staff.
Okay. How does that
Just
look?
a simple quarterstaff.
Okay.
It's oak and wood.
Okay.
Nothing too red. Just a basically same colored oak and staff. Kind of
Yeah.
a nice brown color to it.
Sure. And where did you get that?
I actually found it while traveling. It fit my needs, and it's just the right height for me.
Okay, cool. And now, so this oaken staff that you carry, does it possess magical power itself, or is it only just a conduit for your magical power?
Currently, just a conduit for my magical power, but we'll see what happens.
All right, cool. And tell me a little about the current day's elven culture.
Well, I think most of it's just trying to stay incognito and avoid any Minotaur patrols,
Yep.
just to stay alive, really. Infiltrating human settlements and just trying to blend in.
Yep, cool. And so yeah, so there aren't really like large elven communities anymore then.
I imagine not if we're being hunted and,
Yep.
and all that. So
Right.
yeah, we're just trying to stay alive through the process and maybe rebuild afterward.
Yeah, great, cool. All right. Now there was a rebellion against the Minotaurs and the dwarves. The main body of that rebellion was stamped out, but there are still small subsets of that rebellion that may still exist. Were you ever a part of that?
I was not, but I would say that my parents were.
Okay.
How long ago was the rebellion?
So the rebellion has been going on for like I said, about the past 200 years. It was roughly about 2 years ago that the main force was wiped out, and so it's been about 3 years. So you certainly would have been alive during those times, through the at least the second half of the war. So, but you would have been young and coming up. You're still young now. So are your parents still alive then?
I'm going to say I don't know, and that's something I would like to try to find out.
Okay, so missing parents, good deal. And you said did they go missing working in the rebellion?
I would say yes. They were part of the rebellion, trying to regain some sort of freedom for the elven kind, and
Yeah.
I have not had contact with them since.
Cool, good deal. All right, now do you subscribe to any sort of religion?
Not any one, but I'm open.
Okay, all right. So agnostic, maybe.
Sure. I'll
Um,
play it as an agnostic theist.
yep. Okay, cool. And do you have an alignment?
I have chosen good.
Good. All right. And so, being a wizard, are all elves wizards?
No, I don't think all elves are wizards, but they are apparently are predisposed to be wizards.
Yeah.
They are fae, so they I guess have a connection to the mystical arts.
Yep. So, how did you become a wizard, especially coming up during the time of the war? What was it that led you to being a wizard?
Um. I guess I was traveling and was beset by some bandits, and without thinking about it, I reacted and I let loose a magic missile that stunned one of them long enough for me to escape.
Oh, okay. So, are you a self-taught wizard then?
Yeah, self-taught learning, trying to find others that can teach me
Yeah.
the ways.
Have you come across any mentors in along the way?
Not yet, but my journey continues.
Okay, cool, good. Um, and what is sort of your goal? What is your character's mission in life at the moment?
To form alliances to kind of fill a gap where my family used to be, and to also try to figure out what happened to my parents, whether they are alive or captured or dead or what.
Okay, cool, good deal. Looking for parents alliances. All right, cool. Um, so let's see. Do you have a permanent residence currently, or are you pretty much wandering in your endeavor to form alliances and whatnot?
I am still traveling from one place to another, trying to find somebody who can teach me the arcane ways and trying to make more acquaintances.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal. All right. Um, Now, did you have any caretakers once your parents fell? I mean, obviously that wasn't that long ago, so maybe you didn't need any. But
No, I did not. So I'm just kind of like traveling from place to place, trying to get information
Yep.
about where they were, and really I'm just looking for answers.
Yep. All right. Cool. All right. All right. Well, that's good for the moment. We're going to move on for now. Unless, do you have any other information you'd like to share about your character?
Some things that I had to pick for the creation.
Yeah.
Let me see. I had to choose between a leather armor or a bag of books. I chose the books.
Okay,
Obviously,
cool.
I chose a staff, and on the final one, I chose to get 3 vials of antitoxin.
Okay. Cool. So one of the things I want to explain too about the what do you call it? The items that you're carrying. A lot of you have available for you in your starting gear where is it? Adventuring gear. So that's a little ambiguous. So I'm going to explain how that works real quick. So adventuring gear, and if you want to make a change at this time, you can. Adventuring gear is a bag of stuff that like you might need. So and it doesn't take physical form or description until you need it. So if you need a rope, you can be like, oh, I reach into my adventuring bag and I pull out a rope because it's appropriate for this moment. Once you pull it out of the bag, you mark one item off of your adventuring gear, and then you write that item now in your bag. Now you have a rope, if it's not like used up in some way. You can't pull like you can't pull Excalibur out of your adventuring gear, obviously. But you can pull you could pull a torch or a rope or a lantern or basic dungeon needs you could pull out of there, and we don't know what they are until you pull them out. So, which can be useful. Because in this game we don't have any healing classes, we don't have a paladin or a cleric. I also allow you to pull a potion out of that bag. Now, typically a potion is plus 10 health across the board, but the ones you pull from your bag, we're going to assign a 2d6 healing factor to. So, any questions on that, on the adventuring gear?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on then at this time to Jeff, and we're going to learn about his character. Jeff, what is your character's name and age?
My character's name is Aram, Aram. No
Okay.
last name.
Okay. Yep.
approximately 25 years old.
Cool. All right. And then what is your class, race, and gender?
I am a human barbarian, male.
Okay. And what do you look like?
Tall and intimidating, kind of a deep scowl, rarely smiles.
Okay. How tall? I mean, we talking because we got Mist over there at 6 foot. We got Finn over there at 5'8".
I got to be taller than those guys, I think. So
Okay.
this is kind of wish fulfillment. So I'm gonna make myself 6'5".
Okay, 6'5". All right, cool deal. All right. And what kind of clothing are you wearing?
So one of my traits was full plate and packing steel. Does that mean that I'm wearing plate armor for choosing that trait, or do I just kind of?
Yeah. So, well, it just depends. So, I mean, it would make sense to wear plate armor if you choose that, because if you have to choose one of the two. So you have full plate and packing steel or unencumbered and unharmed. So if you choose full plate and packing steel, you can ignore the clumsy tags on armor that you wear. So you can wear something really heavy, but it's not going to like hinder your movement in any way. Or if you choose unencumbered and unharmed, as long as you're below your load, and you're not wearing any armor at all, you'll just take one armor automatically.
Okay, I still want to stick with the full plate
Yep.
and packing steel.
Okay.
But I think to fit the character, I think it should be kind of rusty.
Okay.
You know, like thrift store style.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Armor,
All right, cool.
kind of raggedy clothes.
All right, nice. And then, so where are we on that? Something. Yep. So your chain. Let's see, wearing some chainmail maybe, and then some armor. So you'll probably mark what, 2 armor on that then, because your chainmail's be an armor, and then your other armor would be 1. So, all right. So rusty armor, sort of in disrepair. You look a little homeless. What weapon are you using?
I want a really massive two-handed sword.
Okay, so like Claymore.
Yeah.
All right, and what does that look like?
Also, kind of functional, but definitely beat up.
Okay.
Needs a little TLC.
Yeah. And where did you get that at?
I took it off a man I killed.
Okay, all right, cool. Spoils of an enemy. All right. And how long have you had that for then?
Let's see. Say approximately 2 years.
All right, cool.
How into the backstory do we get, like in the intro section?
Well, just answer my questions, and then that's all we really need. If there's more, we can flesh that out as we play.
Yes.
So what is barbarian culture like? Well, I guess, yeah, barbarian culture. What is barbarian culture like?
Let's see. It's barbaric.
Yeah.
Very. Let's see. I think the main feature would be just the barbarian in this case just doesn't quite fit right with the world.
Yeah.
Not a lot of experience with civilized culture, only basic knowledge of money and trade.
Yeah.
Not really any, what's the word, etiquette or manners. Just says whatever he thinks.
So you're,
but very tight-lipped about where he came from.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sort of what we expect from sort of a classic barbarian, Conan-esque type race, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Now, do you have a religion or a god or anything that you worship as a barbarian?
My character is very confused about that, I would say.
Okay. All right. And do you have much experience with magic at all?
Not very much at all.
Yeah.
Still makes the character kind of uneasy.
Yeah, and is your character aware of the sort of the magic wars and all that stuff, or is he pretty oblivious, having come in from this sheltered area?
Really, only a surface knowledge of it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. And what about your parents? What are they? I assume they're also barbarians, or are they not?
No, I am the black sheep. They are from a totally different way of life.
Okay.
We no longer speak.
So how is it that you came into the barbarian lifestyle then?
I was part of a wandering nomadic people
Mhm.
whose religion was that it was wrong to take up arms, do violence, or in any way defend
Oh,
yourself.
okay. Yeah. All right.
Everyone believed pretty strongly in it. I mean, like in the modern day, you probably call it a wandering cult, but
Okay.
it's basically they're like gypsies. They wander from town to town.
Yeah.
They do services for people. They move on. Their religion prevents them from participating in wars or in the world too much.
Yeah. So if I guess if there were like almost like wandering Mennonites, right? It'd be sort of like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. So like a wandering Mennonite type of thing. And so then when did you get your first taste of violence then?
So as a member of this tribe, it was forbidden to defend oneself, and oftentimes moving from town to town, we were the subject of mockery.
Yep.
So, being a tall, strapping lad in one town, some ruffians were mocking us, and it turned violent. They disrespected our religion, and they asked us, "Won't you defend your own children?" So some of my siblings who were 10, 12, 14 at the time, they started beating up one of them, and he stopped breathing. And I turned to my parents and said, "Can we not do anything about this?"
Yeah.
And they would say, "No, that's not our way." So I kind of just snapped.
Okay.
And having taken up arms against another human being, I was cast out of the tribe.
Yep. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So, did you kill the people you attacked, or
just one? And having no other earthly possessions, I took his rusty chainmail and his giant sword.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay. Cool. All right. So, what is your character's goal? What motivates your character?
Right now, just trying to eat.
Okay.
finding odd jobs, guarding,
Yeah. Okay.
moving things, lifting things people want lifted, just
Right.
odd jobs, moving from town to town,
Yep.
like the old times. Oftentimes finding work as a guard or someone just because of the size.
Okay. So, I'm going to circle back now. Well, is there any other interesting facts you'd like to share about your character?
No, I think that about covers it
Okay.
for now.
Cool. Now I'm going to circle back. I'm going to ask you all sort of one singular question. We're going to start with Joel. Joel, you've recently had something of value stolen from you. What was it?
I would say that it was a pendant that was dear to me that I found out was a family heirloom.
Okay. All right. Cool. And that's something you maybe recently attained?
Yeah, in the last 200 years or so.
Yeah. Right. All right. Cool. And where was it when it was taken?
It was on me.
Oh, the thief got thieved on his person.
Which is weird because
Yep.
I'm pretty good at it. So.
Yep. All right. Cool. Awesome. All right. So Finn, old Phineas Flannery Funderbuck, what was stolen from you recently? Oh, your mic might be off.
There we go.
Now, yeah, there we go. Yep.
All right. I had a clasp for my cloak that was stolen by the same bandits when I learned how to cast magic for the first time. It belonged to my family. I'm hopefully trying to figure out where that went to,
Yep.
but I'd like to get it back. I don't know that it has any real intrinsic or magical value, but it has a lot of personal value, so I'd like to recover that if possible.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Good. And so was that belonged to your parents then?
It did. It did. It belonged to my mother, and they passed it on to me before they went off to fight in the rebellion.
Okay. And was this something that was passed down to her from a relative as well?
Yeah, from her mother.
Okay.
So it was
a long time family heirloom.
Yes.
Cool. And what does it look like?
It looks like a small oak tree, like symbolized.
Okay. Cool.
It looks like it might be made out of a copper leaf or something like that.
Cool. Awesome. All right. And then moving forward, Aram, what was recently stolen from you?
My prayer beads from the old life.
Okay. And where did you get those from?
In the old tribe, everyone had a set of prayer beads. They were leaves carved out of wood on a necklace, and whenever you thought violent thoughts, you would use the prayer beads to chant, the leaf falls when it's time for the leaf to fall. That was my last connection to my family and tribe, and someone took it.
So the wood that these beads are carved from, that comes from maybe like a special tree?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. Have you ever seen the forest that these have come from, or is it something that has been passed down?
Yes, because it's kind of a sacred area to the tribe. Mm-hmm. They only travel there every 5 years. Yep. So when they do, we have religious rituals and cut one down and make things.
So this site where they get the wood from for these beads is a site that anyone just goes to, or that some people go to, or does only your tribe really ever visit these woods?
Really, only this tribe ever visits it, and cool. Like I said, only every few years.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool, good deal. All right, and when was the last time you visited that area?
Let's see. The last time I visited the area was 4 years ago when I was going through my rite of passage to become a man.
All right, cool.
In that religion.
All right. Good deal. All right. So now we've had time to do some character introductions. If you guys want to take 5 minutes or so and maybe fill out some bonds, you can take that time now if you'd like.
Joel, can I get your character spelling? The name.
Oh yeah, sure, man.
Thanks.
It's MYST.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I guess how would we all have met?
I'm good with my bonds.
So
I feel that
you don't have to discuss across the board. Sometimes it's fun. Just fill in the information and then sort of surprise, and then there's some improv in there when we have to decide how this happens.
All right, well, I got mine.
So okay, all right. So,
all right. I am new to the system, so I would love to get a handout on getting this part started. But I would probably have followed Aram around because he is an involuntary shield for me.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay, so
a little muscle, a little know-how.
An involuntary shield, though. That's yeah.
I just make sure I keep him between me and what might hurt me.
Yep. Okay. So does Aram know that Finn often sort of jumps behind him when he's about to be attacked, or is he oblivious to the whole thing happening?
Oh man.
What's
I'm not
say?
sure if he's caught on yet. I haven't mentioned it, but I imagine I'm like that little suckerfish that follows a shark around.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, right, cool. And what was the first time that happened? What was the scenario? What scuffle were you two in that formed the symbiotic relationship?
I imagine I may have been inquiring about a missing clasp to try to get more information, and I may have rubbed somebody the wrong way, and I guess the push came to shove, and they pushed and shoved me, and I kind of instinctively ducked behind something much bigger than myself, and they may have accidentally pushed and shoved Jeff a little bit in the process.
Okay, all right, cool, all right. Um, all right. Well, so what's your next bond then?
Uh, I am not sure where to go with that.
Well, I can help. I'm going to keep my bond between me and Aram to myself, but I'll share with Finn here.
Sure.
So for me, um, my motives are my own. However, I have seen in my watchings Finn doing his thing, and I have ever so slightly maybe caused a disturbance to have people who may be looking for him go to other directions, and or passed along some rumors that would send people in the opposite direction,
Okay.
keeping him, pretty safe as far as it can be done without me stepping in directly.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Now, is that something that he asked you to do, or something that you've done of your own accord?
I have seen it of my own accord, and I have realized that he is someone who also does not want to be noticed.
All right.
And me being the one that likes to be in the shadows all the time, just thought, I'll help him out.
Okay.
Anytime I'm, doing my thing, because I am a thief. I'm a thief for hire.
Yep.
If you've watched the previous thing, people do come to me for things.
Yep.
And so I hear a lot of talk and things like that, and so I will spread misinformation and things like that to help out.
All right. Now your bond with Aram, is that something we as players can know and the characters not know?
Yeah, sure. So as players, I've seen this big guy stumble around trying to find his way in the world, and he looked mighty damn hungry. And I remember what that was like when I was a kid. So let's just say that sometimes he may stumble into some food that he doesn't know where it came from.
Okay. All right. So now both Finn and Aram, you're sort of helping them out to some degree, unbeknownst to them. But how did you come across either of them in the first place then?
So both of them, I have just observed in my times of gathering information and seeing how the world works, and they both seem like okay people.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I have no qualms in helping someone who doesn't
Right.
try to hurt the world as some do.
Now, have you met them face to face yet?
I don't believe I've ever met Finn face to face. However, I have met Aram face to face.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right.
Because, like he said, he does bodyguard things like that for like bars and things.
Yeah.
And I do frequent bars quite often because that's where a lot of my clientele are at.
Yep.
Where we meet.
All right. Cool. All right. And then let's we'll go ahead and move over to Aram for a minute. Aram, what kind of bonds you got?
So is this only like other player characters, or
Yeah,
how does the bot work?
Yeah, just other player characters.
I feel like me and Finn hang out a lot because, like he said, it's a mutually beneficial relationship. I don't know much about the world, and I'm really bad at blending in.
Yeah.
He knows a lot more, and he's had to hide,
Okay.
his elven roots too.
So as he said, you sort of met in sort of a scuffle. So there's an altercation, and he sort of like maybe ducked behind you, and some people attacked you, going for him. You may not have known that was the case, but tell me about this scuffle. Where did it happen at? Were we in a tavern? Were we in the street, in the market? Were we in a church? I mean, where was this going down at? Back alley?
Let's say probably near a church.
Okay.
To me, it seemed like he was being persecuted for not being of that religion
Okay.
and being mocked, and um, it seemed like the odds were not in his favor.
Okay. So then you had sort of this scuffle, and then after it was over, were y'all sort of like, instant friends, or how did that work?
I'm not very good with words, so I would say it was not an instant friendship, but kind of something that developed over time.
Okay.
Um,
All right. So and this would have all sort of been in at least the two of you, anyways, in the last year or two,
yeah,
right? All right. And do you have a specific bond for Finn outside of that?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. And then Finn, do you have a bond for Mist? Like even though he says you haven't met face to face, have you noticed him at all, or is there something?
I think I noticed him a little bit because although I may not see how he diverts people away from me, I do notice his presence. And I think at one point in time, somebody may have been looking for him, and he may not have wanted to see them or be seen by them. And I may have casually patted him on the shoulder in passing and made him invisible for a short duration.
Okay, cool. All right. So now that we've got sort of some bonds going, you guys, like I said, have all had something important stolen from you. You're maybe all trying to find out information about that. Maybe all of you, in following the clues to those items, have led you to a central location. Now, for our setting, I'm going to start you off in a seaside town. You're going to sort of just be in the town. Maybe you've been here for a little while hunting down clues and looking for information. So where in the seaside town have you sort of all arrived at the same time following the clues? Anyone?
Bar would seem the most likely place, I think, for all three of us for various different reasons.
Okay.
It does sound right.
Yep. All right, cool. All right, so then maybe you are all in this bar, and you've all sort of arrived upon the same individual to question. Who is this individual maybe missed?
Well, I feel like this individual would be very gruff. Someone you look at and maybe think he's not the best type of person to be around.
Okay, what race are we talking about here?
Not human. Maybe orc.
Okay. All right. All right.
Go ahead.
And is he younger, older?
I would say
Middle-aged?
he's fairly old. I wouldn't say he's like an old man, but he'd be a veteran.
Yeah. Okay. And what information does he seem to have for you? Like what information are you seeking from him? What is it that you think that he knows?
Well, from town to town, I've been asking about strange disappearances of objects. In the beginning, when I noticed that my medallion was gone, I followed some footprints to a bar, asked around, found out that it was somebody around that hasn't been around before, and I got a vague description, and I've been following that description from town to town, and I finally found a person that fits that description.
Okay.
And so I don't really know what I'm going to ask him, but I do know he has something to do with my disappearance of my object. And
Aram, are you and Finn sort of working together on this? Or have y'all arrived separately to this location?
I feel like we usually buddy up on jobs like this.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Then, Finn, what information has led you to this orc gentleman?
Maybe the same kind of thing, that maybe he is a fence or knows a fence that specializes in various stolen goods.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So you all have sort of arrived at the same time to question this orc. Are you surprised to find that you're all sort of seeking the same information?
I would say that I am.
Yeah.
I've been very focused on my own because of what this means to me, so I haven't really been paying attention to anyone else around me. I do recognize the two, but
Yeah.
I did not realize that we were all on the same adventure.
Okay. Cool. All right. And does the orc seem willing to give him information, or does he seem hesitant?
If I was judging, I would say he's very prickly and not really talkative to anybody. He's keeping to himself.
Yep. All right. So, what do you ask specifically?
Specifically, I'm going to ask him what's he doing? Why is it that every time I hear about something being fenced or odd things disappearing, that his name's coming up? And I want to know if he knows anything about my particular dealing.
All right, cool. And does Finn and Aram interject, or are they just waiting to see what's happening here?
I think I'm keen on just listening in personally.
Okay. And Aram?
same.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
I mean,
Cool. So yeah, the orc sort of looks you up and down and sees the other two kind of standing just off to the side, and he's sizing up the situation, and he says that he says you don't know what you're getting into. It's best just to count your losses and leave things well as they are.
I think my response is going to be something along the lines of, I'm not going to let this go. You are going to give me information, whether it be easy or hard.
Okay. So do you want to parlay then?
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. So yeah, let's roll 2d6 on your charisma then.
All right. Oh, good. That's an awesome 4 right there.
Yeah. Sweet. So maybe in your haste, you're just not using maybe the most appealing words. And he says to you that he would rather die than give up his contacts. That death by your hands would be far easier than the torture they would inflict upon him. But perhaps the onlookers may be able to aid in some way.
I'd like to say to him, maybe you didn't tell him what he needs to hear, but maybe the people in charge don't know that you didn't tell him what he needs to hear. So you might be facing the same end regardless.
Okay. So you're basically sort of intimidating then at this point. Let's roll 2d6 on your charisma on that.
All right, and charisma is a +1, so what does that do for me?
That'll give you +1 to your roll. Yep.
Okay. So 6?
Yep. And that's a fail. So both and as we're marking experience, both you and Joel will mark 1 experience for failing rolls.
Okay.
This guy's getting pretty antsy, and so he decides he's gonna maybe try and make a run for it. He's started to dart for the door of the inn, trying to escape at this point, trying to cut his losses. What is Aram doing at the moment?
I want to try and grab him if he's going to bolt.
Yep. All right. Cool. So in that case, you'll roll 2d6 plus strength, because grabbing and pulling him down would be a feat of strength.
My strength is a 16, so
That'll be a plus. Yeah, that'll be a +2. All right, yeah. So you got a 9 then. All right. And so anytime you get that 7 to 9 area, you're gonna get the thing you wanted, but there will be like a complication to the case. So certainly, he goes to drive away. You grab him by the scruff of the collar. You jerk him down to stop him from his descent. But as you sort of do so, he hits the ground and he hits his head, and he sort of blacks out. But he doesn't escape. So what will you do at this point? What's Mist doing?
Well, I'm actually gonna go right off the grip here in the very beginning, and I'm going to use my poison expert here.
Okay.
And my poison of choice has always been golden root, which implied makes them trust the ally until proven otherwise instantly.
All right. Cool.
I'd like to put that on him, seeing how he's passed out and can't fight back.
All right. Yeah. And yep. All right. Cool. All right. So yeah, you apply the poison root, and so over, not long goes by. He sort of starts waking up, and he wakes up and he says, he looks at you specifically, and he says, "Oh good, you've saved me. I was attacked by some massive brute, and you've come to my rescue. How can I repay you?"
I'm seeking information on my medallion, good friend. Do you have anything or any news about the missing wares?
So he says, "Oh yes, I think I do know something about that. There's I don't know if you've heard, but there's this thieves guild. They do many a job, and they've it seems as though they've been hired. I don't know the client, but they've been hired to collect up various items. I don't know what significance they hold or why they would do it, but they've been going around taking items off of prominent people left and right. That's all I can tell you beyond that. That it's you'll have to track down the thieves guild to ascertain any more information."
Okay. Now that I've heard that, I would like to maybe spout some lore about this thieves guild, because I feel like my character would know about this.
Yeah, sure. So you'll roll 2d6 plus wisdom, I do believe, on spout lore. So
Good. Well, that'll be an 8 for me, because I have the human rascal moves, which gives me a +1 on spouting lore, discerning reality. So
okay, all right. So yeah, you happen to know the thieves guild that he's mentioning. It's the one that you used to be part of. Now it's been a pretty long time since you've been around them or talked around them, but you would definitely know where their stashes and lairs might be. So where is their lair?
It's in one of the bigger cities, right up underneath the capital.
Okay, all right. So do you and obviously the others have heard the orcs' explanation, but they don't know what you know. Are you proposing an alliance, or telling them, or are you heading off on your own?
For Finn and Aram?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'm good for an alliance. I don't need to do this on my own.
Yeah.
What do you guys say?
Finally, thank you.
I'm for it.
Yep.
I want my prayer beads back.
Sure. All right.
All right, let's go get.
So, all right.
This is the best chance.
Yep. So you how I guess how close to where you are now is the thieves guild?
Well, I will say that this is not the city the main guild is in. Of course, there are guilds in every city, and they're always smack in the middle. But I would say we're a good week's walk.
Okay.
From the main city.
All right. So you could walk. You could take a caravan. Is this somewhere you could reach by boat, or is it
yes?
landlocked?
The main city is not landlocked.
Okay. All right. So what form of travel do you guys think would be the safest for your group?
Mist doesn't technically like water so much. It's not that he doesn't swim, but he doesn't trust super deep water and
Mhm.
things where he can't see.
Yep. All right.
I prefer to take, some other form other than
Yep.
boat, but I'm down for whatever.
Yep.
I feel like my character hasn't been in the world enough to be comfortable with a lot of boating.
Yep.
Either.
No, sure.
Like,
All right. So then it's walking or caravan. Which would you think you'd take then?
I guess caravan.
All right.
I mean, that seems pretty simple.
Yep.
I would agree with the caravan, especially since we have Aram, who would be a caravan's ideal means of protection en route from point A to point B.
Yep. All right. So you'll need to hire a caravan, and that's going to cost you for that kind of trip 50 silver pieces. Especially since you're probably going to have to pay for some anonymity. It's 100 silver pieces per gold. So most of you are probably not wealthy enough to do that, but I think one of you might be.
Could I, since it is so expensive, interject and say that Aram would be a great bodyguard to take a caravan from point A to point B, in which case they should maybe pay him for that service.
Okay, so you're going to try and
Because
arrange.
he is really tall and he has a huge weapon, so
Okay.
it would make sense.
So all right, maybe you're trying to hitch a ride with maybe some traveling merchants or something to that effect then?
Yeah, I'll try to use my charismatic abilities to get us a little deal on that.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. And then also, so something you can do, you can use your charisma, and at the same time, Aram could use like maybe intimidation, or mist for that matter, so they could roll plus bonds to aid in your roll if they wanted to.
Yeah, I'll roll.
is it intimidation or more like, hey, I can lift heavy things too?
Yeah.
Helpful.
I guess it depends on what you want to roll with, right? So you could technically roll with maybe some strength on your intimidation if you're trying to like intimidate with like your muscles and your brawn or whatever, or you can roll with charisma if you're just trying to like jovially talk them into it, or intimidate them with words.
I'm gonna roll with charisma, I think.
Okay. So all right, so yeah, you come up to one of the traveling merchants. You find one. This one is he's a troll. He's got a covered wagon with some goods in it. You don't know what the goods are necessarily. And it's a 2-horse caravan. It's just him alone. And you're asking him to basically hire you to transport and protect him. Now he's going to ask an important question. He's going to ask, he's going to say to you, "Well, I've made this trip, dozens of times with no trouble. Why is it now that I would need protection?"
It's a dangerous world, sir, and there's a lot of bad stuff going on. I don't know if you've noticed, but Minotaurs seem to be hustling everybody.
So he conveys to
Safer
you.
to traveling groups.
He conveys to you. He says, "I am in good standing with the Minotaurs. It's as long as you keep your nose clean and transport their goods, they leave you alone."
You could carry extra with me around. I'm good at lifting things.
So perhaps you're offering to like load and unload his cart then. Okay, so that's certainly something he says. Yeah, I could use a hand unloading the cart. It wears my back something terrible. But let's see if that's good enough then. Who's gonna ultimately roll to make this argument?
I could roll the intimidate and lift something heavy to impress him, I suppose.
Okay.
I don't have much in the way of charisma.
Yeah.
I've got a +1 charisma.
All right. Yeah, but he's got +2 in strength. So yeah, you can lift something heavy and plead your case that way if you'd like. That's fine. So roll 2d6 plus your strength. All right.
Hey.
And that'll be a 10. All right. So yeah, you what are you lifting? Are you lifting the whole cart or something else?
Yeah,
Both horses and
I'll
a
lift
drum.
the whole back of the cart.
The whole back of the cart. It's cool. All right. So yeah, you lift the cart up, and his eyes sort of widen. And he says, "Yeah, I could definitely use your help. I've got work for you, boy." And so he sort of motions to a large set of crates and boxes to the side for you to sort of load into the caravan. And once that's done, he invites you to sort of hop on in, and so you start making your journey. So now, even though it's a 10-day walk, we're looking at sort of a like a 3-day ride with horses in the caravan, much faster mode of travel. So is there anything? Are there any other prominent locations you're going to pass through on your way there? Is there anything that you want to do on your way to this city?
Well, is the troll by chance stopping at other places along the way to sell some of his wares, or is he trying to get more money by selling them in the capital?
He's going to sell them in the capital. That's his goal. There might be some cities that he doesn't necessarily pass to the city itself, but certainly pass by. I think he's a stingy old merchant, so he's not going to do any sort of lodgings. He'll just camp out each night with his caravan. So,
Gotcha.
all right. So, all right. So, let me. We're going to do the undertake a perilous journey. It's not that perilous, but you are already out in the open. So we're gonna have to assign some jobs. Someone's going to be a trailblazer, someone who's sort of scouting ahead to some degree. Someone will have to be a quartermaster, and someone will have to be. Yep. All right. So let me get everyone. Well, let me get somebody to roll 2d6 on wisdom for the quartermaster. Someone else will have to roll 2d6 plus wisdom for the trailblazer, and then someone else 2d6 for the scout. So y'all can choose that however you like.
Is a scout also wisdom?
Let's see. Scout is, I believe so. So yep. This is not something I've ever actually had to use. Yep. Each character with a job to do rolls plus wisdom for their job. Yep.
Cool.
All right. Well, my wisdom's 12, so it's no bonus for me for
Yep.
any of those actions.
Yep. Mine's
So
no
if anyone
bonus,
has a
too.
preference.
Yeah.
It makes sense that Mist would be a role for the scout, since he kind of has the characteristics for it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought so as well.
Aram, what is your choice? And I'll choose whatever you don't want.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Alright.
rolled an 8 for mine, by the way.
All right. So yeah. You've done scouting throughout your trip, and everything seems to be pretty calm. So no problems there. Let's get the quartermaster to roll for someone.
I could try it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Hey.
Nice.
One thing.
Yep. Oh yeah. Sweet. So yeah. So you're good on rations and stuff like that. You'll be fine. And then let's get 2d6 on the trailblazer as well, or the
Coming up.
yep.
All right.
All right.
We are
Nice.
golden.
So because of your trailblazing, because of your quick wit and whatnot, you actually devised a way to reach the capital sooner, and you were actually arriving 2 days instead of 3. So pretty good work all around, everybody. So you arrive at the capital, and it's a pretty large, bustling town. But it is certainly, because it is the capital, it is crawling with minotaurs and dwarves and people loyal to their cause. There's certainly guards at the gate, and as you sort of arrive at the main gate, they have they're doing inspection, right? So you've got a booth where they're inspecting people. They're looking for magical items. They're looking for people who don't have the appropriate papers for entering the city. What do you do at this point?
Does it look
I'm
like
going
they're
around that.
Does it look like they're pulling cloaks or hoods off of people, or
Yeah.
how thorough are they being?
Yeah, they're definitely getting a good look at people's faces and checking their bags. It's like Disney security.
Gotcha. How are they in essence looking for magical items?
They they don't seem to have anything to like discern them specifically. They're just sort of looking in general at stuff, looking for artifacts, emptying out bags and things like that.
Yeah, I guess they're just going to swipe whatever the hell they feel like.
Yeah.
How corrupt are these minotaurs per se? If
Well,
I was to slide some gold.
Well, so these guys aren't minotaurs themselves. They look to be like humans, but like I said, they're working. The city's full of people who are loyal to the minotaurs as well. Lots of people in the wars have sold out or just sided with the side that is the government, right? I mean, most people,
Right.
work for the government and they believe the government to be right. So.
Well, I would like to.
Now you have options. Obviously, you could look for another way in. You could wait till nightfall, or you could try and pass your way through the gate now. That's totally up to you. So be as direct or as discreet as you want about these things. I implore you to do whatever feels right.
I'm going to say Mist will not go through that gate. There's two ways it's going down. Either I'm bribing someone to go through with no issues, or I am totally going around everybody and no one's going to see me enter that city.
Being that I am an elf, and if they discover me, it could be very bad, I am going to whisper over to Aram and also to Mist that I'm going to be right here, but I'm not going to be here. I will try to duck behind someplace that is out of sight, and if I can find such a place, I will cast invisibility on myself.
Okay. So do you want to maybe roll discern realities to see what's sort of around you?
Sure. I can do that. I get a +1 on that if you want.
That works for me.
All right. So yeah, roll plus your wisdom.
Mist said that he was going to do discern realities, I guess,
Yep.
to see if it's
Yeah.
a good
Yeah,
safe
that's
spot.
an 11 for me, man.
Yep. So yeah, you as you look around, you see sort of the main gate that surrounds the city. It's a pretty large, massive wall. But up from that, you've got sort of the line of people waiting to check in and get into the city. Obviously the merchant is also in that line, waiting to get in, and his wagon's still there. You've sort of just recently disembarked from it, and you're more or less right behind him. You see a little bit in the distance. There's some tree coverage. There's a little bit of forestation, and then there's also sort of if you look around the wall, there's an area with sort of like covered latrines for people to sort of do their business and things. And beyond that, there's not much else around. Sort of just the forest and field and whatnot.
Well, the latrines look like a phone booth for a not-so-great Superman, but I might use that to change into something less visible.
Okay, all right.
During my discern realities, would it be possible that I've seen anybody that it was checking something, maybe take a little extra and not check so hard?
Yeah, okay. So you basically are wanting
Are
to
they corrupt enough for me to
Yeah.
bribe? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. So yeah, you kind of hang back for a while as you're sitting and watching, and the troll merchant that you were with, you sort of see him as he's dealing with the guards, and he pulls out a small brown pouch and sort of hands it to the guards, and they just sort of like wave him on through.
Oh,
Handy.
I'm gonna do that.
All right. So are we still going in? Are we still trying present invisibility?
Yeah, because I do have elven features on my face, and if
Yep.
somebody notices that, I don't
Right.
want to get imprisoned.
Now there are elves who are in the employ of the government, but I would imagine they'd have some sort of paperwork to signify that. So it's not impossible that there are elves within the city, but an elf without papers getting in the city would probably be a problem. So
I would like to inquire if I just gave 3 pieces of gold if they'd let 3 of us pass without inspection.
So you're
Like
gonna
a large sum.
Yeah, you're gonna sort of approach one of them and do this.
Same dude.
Sure. So you're gonna do parlay. You're gonna roll plus your charisma to sort of ask this question. So
Awesome. Way awesome.
wow,
That's
yeah,
an
nice,
11.
cool.
That's a 12.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he sort of he looks at you and he looks at the gold and he takes one of the golds, he puts it in his mouth and kind of bites on it, see if it's real, and he sort of slips them in his pocket and he says, "Make your way in." And so he waves you all in.
All right, fellas, let's go.
Yep. So as you sort of are making your way into the capital, now you said the Thieves Guild is sort of in the center of the capital, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe underneath the main building.
It is.
Yeah. So where would the entrance to this be, though?
So the entrance is always a block away, and it's always in an abandoned building with a beggar sitting at the front door.
Okay. All right. And so as you're sort of making your way through the city, I mean, it's a large city, right?
Yep.
It's becoming sort of evening time. It's dusk. The sun is going down. There's just a little bit of twilight still left in the air. And there's huge buildings all around. A lot of still. I mean, even though it's night, there's a lot of nighttime traffic going through. People are still doing their thing out and about. Eating at shops and restaurants and drinking their mead and whatnot. So this abandoned building, is this in like one of the more rundown districts of the city, or?
No, they're always in that transition where it goes from people feeling safe to not safe.
Okay, yeah.
It's not in either or, it's right in that transition area.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. So as you guys make your way towards this building, a group of ruffians, a group of 4, sort of walk up to you and they sort of like get near you and they say, "Your money or your life."
I laugh in their face.
I'm gonna intimidate them, I think.
I would like to ask real quick. I did say I wanted to try to cast invisibility while I was in one of the
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
things. So I wasn't sure how that works because
Yeah. So basically, we'll say that's one of the spells that you prepared.
Okay.
So now you have a spell book, and you have 3 spells that you will have written in there from the level 1 spell list.
Yes.
And then you also have the rotes. Now I'm pretty loosey goosey. You can say that's one of the spells I wrote down. I'm not. You didn't have to have written that down before.
Gotcha.
So, but
there you go.
okay. Cool.
I put check marks next to them, so
All right.
I've got magic missile, invisibility, and telepathy.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
And so yeah, go ahead. Let's go ahead and roll for your invisibility then. You'll roll. You're casting a spell, so you're gonna
Yes.
roll 2d6 plus your intelligence then.
Nice.
Okay, so you got a 9.
Mhm.
So yeah, on the 7 to 9, then there is some. You have to choose one of the things. You have to draw unwelcome attention. The spell disturbs the fabric of reality as it casts, and you take -1 ongoing to cast a spell until the next time you prepare a spell, or you can lose the spell. So which of those would you choose then?
Well, I'm in basically a medieval porta potty, so I guess what kind of unwanted attention would I get inside one of these things?
So someone might notice that there's magic happening inside the porta potty.
I'm okay with that because when I leave the porta potty, they won't see me anyway. So
Okay,
I'll
sure.
take my chances with that one.
Yep. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So you cast the spell, and sort of as you do, the one of the sort of guards in the building around the building notices magic has been done, and so even though they don't notice you, they do start inspecting the porta potty, and they're sort of all over it. But you've been unnoticed, so.
Okay.
All right. So you're walking with the group and you're invisible. These guys have approached Mist and Aram and sort of threatening to. They're basically mugging you guys. And Mist has laughed at them. They certainly don't take terribly kind to that. And they sort of flash some knives that they've got. The four of these
I'm
guys.
gonna flash my black freaking rapier that glows orange at them and see how they like that crap.
Yeah.
I have complete faith in my compatriot's abilities.
Yeah.
Let me just say, some goblins I know didn't survive well. It was not good for me either, but
Yeah.
I got out of there.
So yeah, they see your rapier, but they sort of laugh and they say, "Oh, rich boys like you can't use weapons like that. That's just for show. We know how it goes around here."
Aww.
So what's Aram doing at the moment?
Are we already fighting, or
No,
we're just about to?
Not yet. They're going to mug you. If are they going to attempt to mug you? Should you not either talk them out of it or put up a resistance?
Let's see. How would one resist? Like, is that like another intimidation, feat of strength kind of thing, like we did with the wagon? Or
Yeah, you could roll to intimidate with strength. So choose, I guess, choose one in particular you're going to direct your actions at of the four. So the four of them are sort of in a slight semicircle in front of / around you in sort of this alleyway that you were walking down to get to the building. So just looking at the scene, you sort of got the walls of buildings to the left or right. These guys are directly in front of you. You've got a little bit of alleyway to the back of you, not too much, but enough to where like people walking by, if they saw something going on, because you're in that transition from good town to bad town, they're just going to hurry on by and not engage. People are pretty blind to that kind of stuff. They don't want to be a part of it. The buildings to either side of you are 4 to 5 stories tall, made of brick. There are some maybe railings more towards the top where windows would open up to. And like I said, it's sort of twilight. It's in that sort of dusk time period. So
Okay.
So we'll call them ruffians 1 through 4. They're all humanoid, anyways. They look humanesque to you.
Does anyone in particular seem to be in charge?
The one who has been making the comments is to the middle left as you're facing them.
Okay. Then I would like to intimidate middle left ruffian.
Okay, sure. So yeah, roll 2d6 on you, and then with your strength.
Ooh.
And your strength is +2, so you get a 7, right?
Yeah.
Well, I already added that on.
Oh no, yeah, no. So yeah, no, you definitely okay. So yeah, you sort of well, tell me how you were trying to intimidate. What were you doing? Were you flexing?
I was gonna take out my giant sword and twirl it around.
Okay,
in
yeah.
a very intimidating fashion.
So, but you do pull out your sword. Right, that happens. And you go to twirl it around, but because it's a little more of an enclosed space, you accidentally sort of hit the sword on the side of the wall, and it bounces back and sort of falls to the ground. And the 4 of them sort of laugh at you, and at that point in time, they're sort of done conversating, and they all sort of start to rush you and make the attack. So you are now engaged in battle. What is Finn doing during all of this?
I see the amazing swordsmanship and the inevitable attack from the ruffians. Can I try to divert them before they attack? I was thinking I could do, since I'm invisible, I could be like this disembodied voice, and I'd like to kind of do some sort of old man, beware, run for your lives thing, just to at least throw them off, maybe.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you can roll on charisma for that.
All right. Charisma. Ouch.
Yep.
Okay.
They in
Beware!
the hustle and bustle of the city, they definitely don't even hear that at all. And you're as you're sort of making noise and trying to intimidate, you lose the concentration, holding you invisible, and you are now visible. So
Beware! Hi.
yeah, and so Mist, what's happening? You were being encroached upon. These guys are rushing you as all this is happening.
They're rushing me, huh?
Well, they're rushing the group of you. They seem mildly startled to see a person appear out of nowhere, but it's not stopping their onslaught.
All right, I'm just gonna take that leader and I'm just gonna cut the shit out of him, mainly his face, just to really mess with him.
Okay, all right. So yeah, what 2d strength on? You on Dex, aren't you?
Yep, that's a 9 for me. Plus my rapier gives me a +1 or whatever. So
Was the rapier was +1 to damage, wasn't it?
yeah, it was. All right,
Yep.
5. So
Yep.
it's an 8.
Yeah, so an 8.
9. No, it's a 9
9
because
so
of
9.
Dex.
Yep. So yeah, you're definitely gonna do some damage. So let's go ahead and roll for damage on that.
5.
Okay, cool. So, you're definitely gonna do some damage to the main guy. He won't necessarily be dead yet, but tell me how you attack him with your rapier.
I go across one of his eyes and write an M on one of his cheeks.
Okay, all right, cool. So is that M in cursive or is it block lettering? How are we doing this M?
No, it's a beautiful / up, down, up, down.
Okay.
And then I look at him and I say, "Not so bad for a fancy boy, huh?"
Yeah. So as you're doing that, you cross him. He definitely takes the damage, and he sort of takes a few steps back after doing it. But while you've done that, one of the others has definitely sort of kicked at you as it's going on. So let's do some damage for you. You're going to take 4 damage, and obviously
You and your stupid rolls, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And you'll
taking 3 damage, but yeah.
You'll have to deduct your armor from that. So he gives you a nice sort of kick in the chest, knocking you back a little bit. And then meanwhile, the other two, one is now sort of headed towards Finn's location. The other one is coming down. He's now bringing his dagger right into Aram. Aram, what are you doing?
Let's see. Can I challenge the guy headed towards Finn to draw more attention to me and away from?
Well, you could, but you have your own assailant at the moment.
Oh, all right. Well, I probably need to pick up my sword.
You could,
since
or
I dropped it.
So you could pick up your sword, or you could defy danger and sort of sidestep him, or you could even try to attempt an attack barehanded if you want to. So you have a couple of options you can choose.
Let's do the barehanded attack.
Okay. Yeah, 2d6 on your strength. Okay, yeah, and so you make a perfect move. And let's go ahead and roll for some damage too. Roll your barbarian? So is it +10? So yeah, just roll a d10 for damage. All right, 6. All right, cool deal. All right, so you're definitely gonna do some damage to this guy. Tell me how you deflect his attack and cause damage by using your hands.
He steps forward. He exposes himself too much. I sidestep. I punch him in the face.
Okay, so yeah, you punch him as he's coming across.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So as he's coming across and you sidestep, you punch him to the face. That sort of knocks him into the wall as well. He's going to take that 6 damage. Obviously, he's not murdered, but he's definitely feeling some pain in his jaw from where he's been hit. Obviously, while that's going down, the other one, the one to the far left, is descending down upon Finn. As that's happening, Finn, what are you doing?
Well, I'm dreadfully unprepared, but I do have my walking staff in hand, so I'm going to attempt to use it to sweep out his feet as he's running at me to try to give myself some space.
Sure, yeah. So that'll be
leg.
yep,
Oh, he
it'll be
swiped left.
right. That'll be a feat of strength. So if you roll 2d6 on your strength for that.
All right. I have 8 strength, so I have a -1, I guess.
Yep. Okay, so you still net at 7, so it will have some success.
Okay.
So you said you were sweeping the legs.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So definitely you go to sweep the legs, and as you sweep, he's running towards you. It's an enclosed space. He doesn't have a lot of area to fall into. So as he's coming down, he does lunge forward with his knife. He's going to catch you in the side of the leg with his knife, doing a little bit of damage. So you're going to take 4 damage on that. You can deduct any armor rating that you have on that, and he will fall into the ground. So I will tell you too, in this game, you can, if you can explain it in a way that makes sense, you can have what's called advantage. So if a character is in a compromised position, or you have some sort of tactical advantage on that character, you can certainly take some sort of boon, whether it be plus to your roll or plus to some damage. There are some scenarios if a character is completely prone and defenseless, where you wouldn't have to roll to attack at all. You could just make your attack, and it would be a guaranteed success. So if a character was completely tied down or unaware of your presence, you could attack them without
like
rolling.
when I slipped him the poison, he was out, so I didn't have to roll for it.
Right. But this guy, having been swept in the legs and fallen to the ground, he's still aware. But if anyone attacked him, they would take advantage. But Mist, you still got 2 facing you. You got the one you hit and the one that hit you. What are you doing?
I'm going to attack the same guy I messed his face up with again.
Okay. All right. So let's roll on strength for that then, or dex for you. Dex for you, yeah. On your appropriate modifier.
That's 8.
All right. Cool. So then roll for damage too.
That's a 4.
All right. Cool. All right. So he won't die, but he certainly will be critically wounded. Tell me how you do that.
Cool. So I go across to mark up his other side of his face, and just for a little coup de grace, make sure I go across both his eyes, hopefully blinding him.
Okay. All right. So yeah, sure. You hit him across the face. He is definitely blinded. But once again, you sort of had this guy that attacked you before. Seeing you go for the same guy again, he's going to continue to make a move on you. So at this point, he definitely, as you're making your attack, comes down upon you with his knife, catching you in sort of the top of the back, just behind the shoulder. Cool. And you're definitely going to take some damage on that one. 4 damage again. I know. That's how every session has to begin, right?
It's like the effing goblins all over again.
Yeah. So you'll definitely take some damage on that. And the other guy, the one that you've blinded, he's definitely in sort of a prone position, as it were, at the moment. Meanwhile, the gentleman that Aram has sort of assaulted, punched in the face, he's sort of regained his awareness, and still sort of challenging you, Aram, in battle. He's wanting to get revenge for the damage you've done to him. But you've had some time as you punched him in the wall, punched him, and he's taken some damage. You've had a moment that you have been able to pick up your sword. So you have sword in hand now. What do you do?
If he's gonna come back, I'm gonna give him more. So
all right,
let's attack him again.
Yep, sure.
And
yep. All right. So what were you trying to do? What was your attempt with the sword?
A broad slash.
Yep. All right.
My jaw.
Yep. So as you're coming down, he sort of like sees it before it's happening. Because you had some trouble before, your movements are a little slower. You're trying not to hit the wall or anything like that. So that's given him the time that he needs to sort of sidestep. As he sidesteps, he comes at you sort of with his knife and sort of sticks it right in your bicep. And you are going to take 3 damage on that. But minus armor because you're wearing the plate mail. So I think you've got 2 armor, so that would really only be 1 damage. But all the while, Finn, you've got this guy. He's on the ground, and you've had a moment to sort of collect yourself. What are you doing? Finn, you there?
I am kind of panicking, so I reach down real quick and I touch his face and I cast light between his eyes.
Okay, all right, cool. So yeah, let's do cast a spell for that.
Woohoo!
Dang, sweet. Okay, yeah, you blind the ever-loving crap out of him. He is completely blinded. He's 100% sort of indisposed at the moment. There's not much he can do. He's holding his face. He's taken several steps back, and he can't see for crap. He's concerned. In the meantime, what's happening with Mist and his assailants?
Assailants, yeah. I think because the one guy's on the ground blind, I'd like to get some distance from the one guy that's sticking daggers in my back.
Mm-hmm.
And while I do that, I'm going to try to stomp this dude's head while I get back.
The injured guy or the guy that's been attacking you?
No, the dude that's on the ground that can't defend himself.
Oh, okay. The completely blind guy.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So you can let's since you're taking a step back, we'll roll Defy Danger for that, but you'll certainly get your hit in for free on the other guy.
All right. That'd be a 9.
All right. Cool. So yeah, definitely as you're stepping back, you just want to curb stomp this dude.
Yeah, man. Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and roll for damage then.
6. Oh no, 5. Sorry, not using the rapier.
5. Okay. Cool. So yeah, definitely you stomp this guy in the head. He takes the full brunt of that. Not dead, but definitely like even more so, just unaware at the moment. He's sort of dazed and confused. But as you stomp and in your haste to run backwards, you sort of trip a little bit. You fall backwards into the street, sort of hitting your own head on the ground as you fall backwards in your escape. And you're just going to take 1 damage on that. And then you're on the ground momentarily. Meanwhile, what are we doing, Aram?
Let's see if we can get it right this time.
Yeah, sure.
Take another swing.
All right, cool. And then let's you're definitely gonna get some hit on that. Let's roll for damage too. Your D10. 2.
What the actual?
Yeah.
What the heck, man?
Yeah. So you won't kill him, but you'll do some damage for sure. So tell me how you inflict a little bit of pain onto this guy, anyways.
Well, I got a giant sword, swinging pretty wide with it. It sounds like from the damage roll, I just catch him someplace really not critical, like the big toe or, I don't know, across the back of his calf or something.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So you're swinging for the legs?
Not on purpose, but...
Okay, yeah, sure. So you catch him across the foot. He's definitely like bleeding a little bit. It's going to disable his movement to some degree. But sort of while that's happening, the guy who had originally attacked Mist twice is advancing forward as Mist fall back. He sees his opportunity to attack you because you've left yourself open while attacking this other guy. And this guy is just really like Billy Badass for whatever reason. He's attacking everybody with no real repercussion. So he he sort of jumps and does like double kick with his feet in the air, and he's going to catch you sort of in the side of the head for just 2 damage. So you're pretty sturdy. You're going to take the brunt of that, but definitely it's going to knock you back a few spaces and disorient you for just a moment. And all these things are going down. Finn, what are you doing?
Well, my attacker is currently incapacitated.
Yep, still. Yeah.
I see one on the ground by mist, and I see Aram is sort of dealing with his as well.
Yeah.
So, which one looks like they are worse off?
So definitely the guy, he's a little further back that Mist was involved with. So you'd have to sort of pass by the one that Aram is attacking and the one that just attacked Aram to get to this guy, or you have the guy that's completely prone on the ground sort of in front of you from the light blast.
I think the light blast is going to last at least long enough. I'd like to try to help out one of my companions.
Okay.
I don't want to walk through a melee between a barbarian and a thief.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to use my staff to try to knock the thief upside the head in the interim.
Okay. The one that Aram has been attacking, or the one that just attacked Aram?
Oh, he's got 2 on him?
Yeah, well, he just attacked a guy, and then the guy who had previously been attacking Mist, who's still untouched, did a drop kick on Aram.
That's right. Yeah, I'll go for that one then.
Okay. All right.
All right, and rolling that. All right, I'll take it.
Hey.
All right, yeah, cool, good. And then let's go ahead and roll for damage, too, then.
All right, what's the damage on a quarterstaff?
So with Dungeon World, weapons don't have damage themselves. Your class has damage. So
it's a D4.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, cool. Do I do a -1 because it's strength based?
No, the -1 is just for your roll. So yeah, you'll do. Yeah, you'll do just a tiny bit. Well, how do you do the damage? How are you going to deal it?
Well, I in my head I was picturing I was going to swing this and crack his skull open, but I think I just took a little off the top.
Yep. So yeah, you definitely give a swing. It's quite a reach because he's still kind of like a distance from you a little bit. So you're really just catching him with the end of the staff, and because it is close quarters, your swing's probably not as heavy as you'd like it to be because you're trying to avoid the mishaps that you've seen Aram have with sort of the close quarters combat. So you do sort of tap him in the side of the head. He takes a little bit of damage. It's mostly just an annoyance, but he does take a little bit of a hit off of that.
I'll show him what for.
Yeah, right. He sort of after it happens, he just sort of chuckles, and he looks at you and says, "Is that all you've got, boy? A weakling like you could never take down a man like me." Mist, you've collected yourself off the ground now. What are you doing?
I'm killing this stupid guy, Below.
Okay, which one? The one you curb stopped, or the one that?
The one I curb stomped. I'm done with this dude.
Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, let's. He's the light blast is starting to fade from him a little bit.
Not
but
light blast. This guy's blinded.
Well, no,
Took
that's
a sword to his eyes.
That's the guy. That's the guy that's in front of you. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So that's not the guy you curb stomped, because you curb stomped the guy that you were walking backwards on.
That's what I'm talking about. I cut him in the eyes. Light blast dude was on the other side of the fight.
Well, you were heading backwards, right? Okay. So I guess
Sure,
I took it to understand that you were heading backwards away from him. But okay, so you're going to attack the blinded guy. So yeah, let's go ahead and roll for that.
That's a 9.
Okay. All right. Cool. So and then let's roll for some damage.
3. Yay.
Yeah, but you're going to murder him, so it's okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and murder this guy who's been blinded. And tell me how you do it.
I'm going to walk up to him, and I'm just going to lean on my sword like a cane, but it's going to go through the side of his temple.
Okay, cool. And also on your roll, you can actually take a +1 on advantage because he's pretty messed up. So yeah, okay. So you're just gonna lean down on him and just slowly sink in.
Yep. As I'm looking at his double dragon kicking guy, over there and I'm saying you're next.
Okay, all right. So yeah, you lean. It just sort of slowly sinks in, and then there's a slight chink as it sort of hits the ground on the other side, and you sort of see the life fade from his body as he goes limp. The sword in skull. Meanwhile, dropkick guy is sort of seeing this going on, and he sort of starts running in your general direction. He's going to attack because your sword's embedded in this guy's skull. He thinks maybe he's got a chance. But in the meantime, Aram, what are you doing?
So I have this move called hack and slash.
Yeah,
hack and slash.
Yeah, that's your basic attack move. Everyone has hack and slash. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I will do that.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, there's be 2d6 on your strength then. Yep. So yep. Hey, but you're gaining all kinds of experience. So there's
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Make sure you're keeping track of this.
Yeah. Every failed roll is experience. So you are racking up the points. You might be level 10 by the time this is over. Who knows?
I was gonna say you're gonna be a barbarian king.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. So I assume you were attacking with your sword.
Yes.
Yep. So you get to attack this guy. I mean, he's pretty hurt. There's not a lot left of him. So it's really just sort of by chance that as you go to attack him, he sort of stumbles and you miss. It wasn't anything that was planned. But in battle, sort of sometimes things just happen. So you go to hit him. You're putting all your might into it. And you're expecting your sword to sort of sink into bone and meat, and so you put a lot of force into it. But as he sidesteps, it hits the ground, pops back up, and hits you in the face. Right. So you sort of take a smack to the face with your own sword, not with the blade edge, but just the flat edge. But you're definitely going to take some pretty serious damage. You're going to take 6 minus your armor damage on that from your own attack, and sort of you're going to sort of stumble back a little bit from this happening, and you're going to take sort of -1 going forward on your next roll from being sort of dazed by your own attack. But in the meantime, what's Finn doing?
I am going to try striking at the guy again with a quarterstaff, the one that only took 1 point of damage from me, and called me out for it.
Okay.
Not that I have a personal thing against him, but because if he doesn't go down, I am afraid for my life.
Yep. All right. So yeah, that guy is currently assaulting Mist. So you're going to attack him in his assault of Mist.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's and you're just attacking him with your staff then, right?
Correct.
Yep. So we'll do the 2d6 on your strength then.
All right. I will come straight down overhead.
Yep.
And no, I will not. Yeah,
sure. So yeah, he's making a mad dash for Mist. As you go to make your hit, the guy that you sort of blinded, that's on the ground, that's been hit a couple of times, he's sort of regained his sight at this point. He's still on the ground, but he sees you start dashing to sort of make this thing. He grabs you by the leg and trips you up, causing you to fall in your attempt to attack him. And in your fall, you're gonna take just the 1 damage, but you're going to sort of fall to the ground, and you'll have to take a minute to collect yourself as that's going on. Mist, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm about to nope out of here. Let's see. Nah, I won't do that yet.
So as a recap, where sort of the enemies are, you sort of got your sword in this guy's skull. I assume you're pulling it out probably to do something. You've got the guy who's only had 1 damage. He's running towards you now, seeing you sort of murder his buddy. There's the guy who's stumbling around that Aram is dealing with, and then you still got like blinded guy who's not really blinded anymore. He's on the ground. He's probably on his way to get back up as he's just tripped Finn. So that's sort of where the enemies are. The one that's coming at you from the right side, just slightly back from that, also on the right, is the one that Aram is dealing with, and sort of back behind you on the left is the one that's recently just grabbed Finn.
All right. I think I'm going to use one of my 3 throwing daggers.
Okay.
And I'm going to chuck it at this guy's torso.
The one that's running towards you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's plus dex, I believe.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. You're going to use volley. So volley.
Well, that gives me a 6. Yay.
Yep. Wow, I should have made these guys goblins, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, man.
I know. So yeah, for you're certainly going to make your throw. This guy, he's wily, like I said. He's the Billy Badass of the group, you know. He's the untouchable. You throw the dagger, and he literally grabs it midair from the throw, and he takes it and he sort of like makes a spin and tosses it back at you, and it sort of catches you. It doesn't like stab into you, but you sort of catch the butt of it to the face because it's sort of a wild throw that he's made. So just the 1 damage.
All right.
But you sort of have your dagger back. It's like fallen to the ground in front of you, so it's not gone far.
Cool.
But in the meantime, this is all happening. Aaron, what are you doing?
I gotta try it again. See if we can get it right this time. Another attack. And alright, it actually hits this
Hey, yeah.
time.
Okay, cool, good deal. Alright, so yep. Alright, so let's roll for some damage then. Roll your D10. Don't get a 1.
Dude explode.
No ones. 6. Good. Alright. Tell me how you murder the dude.
I finally get it right and take his head clean off.
Cool. All right, yeah. Let's see. 79. All right. So yeah, you swing your sword, you lop his head right off. His body falls to the ground. The head sort of rolls off to the side, and he's pretty dead. As you do it, you're feeling pretty fatigued from the battle. You got the 7 to 9, so that's gonna have some mild consequence. And you were also carrying -1 forward, so your 9's actually an 8. But you're gonna carry that -1 forward to your next roll as well. Just from the fatigue you're feeling from having sort of had a lot of failed attempts, and you're sort of under some mental stress now at your constant failure. But in the meantime, Finn, what's happening with you? You've recently sort of been tripped and fallen to the ground by this guy who you had blinded before. This other guy has sort of just thrown a dagger back at Mist, hitting him in the face. What are you up to?
Well, I need to stand up, and I would like to attempt to try to stand up, and as I do so, bring my staff up and catch the guy who's fighting Mist between the legs.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
Yes. All right, yeah. And let's roll for some damage on that too, then.
All right, can do.
All right. Yep. Okay, so well, hold on. All right, so now you've rolled a 10 plus.
Yes.
On your attack, basically. You can, if you would like, roll an additional D4 damage, but that will open you up to attack. Is that something you want to do?
I am squishy, and I don't.
Okay,
want to
yeah,
do that.
sure. No, that's fine. So yeah, you throw out your pole. You do trip him, right? It happens.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not going to take a lot of damage. He's going to take the 1 damage from that. But it's going to make him stumble. It's going to give advantage moving forward on someone rolling against him. So he's sort of stumbling now in Mist's general direction. Mist, what are you doing?
I'm going to jack his ass up with my rapier.
Okay.
Since how he's stumbling.
Yeah.
Do I have to roll a d6 if I get advantage on him?
Yeah. Advantage will give you +1 to your roll.
Oh. Cool. Well, that's a good one right there.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
so
11.
Yep. All right, cool. So yeah, go ahead and roll for damage then.
That would be a 4.
All right, and your 11. You can take the D4 extra damage rolling forward for opening yourself up to attack. Is that something you want to do?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
Yay!
Yeah. All right. So you're gonna make 2 attacks. You're not gonna kill this dude, but definitely you're gonna do some damage. Tell me how you're gonna make the what is it? You're doing 5 damage, I think. So tell me how you do that.
Seeing as how he's stumbling, I'm gonna go for his arms as they're outstretched to catch him.
Okay.
Try to cut his wrists up and his arms up.
All right. Cool. So yeah, you definitely make a slash on either wrist. Definitely doing some damage left and right. He drops his knife. He's gonna take some damage to his hands as he does so. He's gonna pull back and sort of take a hop back at this moment. As you've done that, the guy who was previously blinded and who had caused Finn to trip, he sort of has gotten to his feet and he's starting to run away. So he's making an exit out of the alley at this moment. What is Aram doing?
Okay, is it possible to pick up the severed head and try and intimidate the other guy into running away too? Because let's see, you got 2 dead, 1's running, 1's still fighting.
Yeah, yeah, you can try and do that. That's sure. You can roll. Let's roll on. I guess we'll roll on charisma for that. And don't forget that you have a -1 to your roll currently. So.
Okay. So -1 for the situation,
Yep.
and I have a charisma of 8, which is also a -1.
So you take -2 on this total. Yep. Hey, but you know what? You get some success on that, right? So yeah, you toss the head. It's sort of or what you're tossing, or you're just shaking it in front of him, or whatever. How are you manifesting this fear that you want to create?
Well, if he's not facing me, then I'll throw it at him to get his attention.
Okay, yeah, he's definitely not facing you. So yeah, definitely you throw the head, sort of catches him a little bit on the back, sort of turns around, sees it's his buddy, and he also sees his other friend sort of taking off, and so he also sort of makes to run away. He's going to dart down the alley to leave as well. So that's happening. What is Finn doing at the moment?
Well, as soon as he is out of my presence, the light that's on his head will dissipate, so I don't have to worry about canceling that. I guess I quickly shred a piece of my cloak and try to bandage my leg if all the attackers are fleeing at this point.
Yep. Okay. All right. And Mister, you doing anything?
I'm just gonna watch.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So you will none of you will be in pursuant of the runaway bandits, as it were. So, all right. Cool. All right. So they've run away. You've all sort of had a moment to like collect yourselves, sort of get your wits about you. It's full on night at this point. This battle also have gone on for just a little bit. It's dark. You can see some stars in the sky. There are lanterns lit. You can kind of see in the city, not down the alleyway that you're down necessarily. There's like some light from the ambient light that's in the city, but it's pretty dark where you are now. Do you continue to make your way towards the entrance then to the Thieves Guild, or?
I almost feel like it might be a good idea for some of us to sit and recover.
Yeah. All right.
I
Cool.
agree.
We can get all our HP back before we go diving into some crap.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So this will be a pertinent time then. We'll sort of close the session for tonight on this scene where you guys have you're sort of like hanging out in the alleyway. You're taking maybe a little bit of time to collect yourselves, maybe re-prepare for some spells. You're gonna sort of hang out for an hour or two before you head in. Do your characters have any parting thoughts or interactions while they're sitting in the alleyway tending to themselves?
Well,
I want to make a mental note of what our attackers look like, the ones that survived anyway.
Yep.
So that if I see them again, I will hopefully recognize them.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah, they're humans. We'll say the one that ran in the alley, the one that you blinded behind you. He's got sort of a scruffy but short beard. It's kind of raggedy. It's sort of a blondish hair color. He looks to be about his mid-30s, wearing sort of tattered and worn clothes. The one that sort of ran off in front of you, the sort of the Billy Badass guy. He was clean shaven but very slender features, narrow eyes, sort of janked up teeth. They were both sort of about medium height, somewhere between the.
Did he have 3 teeth?
Yeah. No, well, he didn't work for the Tiger King. I don't think. I don't think.
At least he knew where I was going with that.
Yeah. But yeah, he didn't look like he was hopped up on meth or anything. I don't think. But yeah, so certainly you've made a mental note. If you see them again, you will certainly notice them or someone like them carrying forward. Anything else?
I would like to loot the bodies that
Cool.
are left.
Yeah, sure. So you loot the what you got 2 bodies there with you. The decapitated guy and then the guy you sunk your. You guys have a thing for heads. Yeah, there's a lot of like head related death here. So there are 2 knives. They're equivalent to like a throwing knife. So if you want to add 2 throwing knives to your stock, you can. You find like a few like copper pieces on them. Like we'll say 3. They didn't have much anything on them. And then they just have some like ratty clothes, and that's about it. So
All right, I'm gonna give the coppers to Aram because he took that dude's head off. He did
yeah,
a good
sure,
job.
right.
Because you were afraid not to, because
Yeah.
I'm throwing heads around and acting cray-cray.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they didn't have any armor.
No, they were all
No.
just wearing like cloth clothing. There was no armor on them at all.
While we were
Gotcha.
searching them, did they have any brands or tattoos or any identifying anything?
They did have a there's sort of like numbers on their forearm. That's an indication that they have been in sort of imprisonment before.
Okay.
So that's about it. No other tattoos other than that.
Okay.
Maybe some. I mean, if you're stripping them naked, you might find a few scars from maybe fights or battles or whatever.
I don't think I care that much.
I got some cool ones on my ass from some goblins. You guys want to see?
I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
I have detect magic as a cantrip. Can I do that to see if any of the daggers maybe came up?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
You can roll for that.
Okay.
Sweet.
So yeah, you cast your detect magic. You don't detect any magic on the daggers. You do detect some magic, just very faint magic in the building adjacent to you. You can't tell exactly what kind of magic it is. It's very faint. It could be just someone using a cooking spell or something. It's just, it doesn't feel like anything of significance, but you detect it. It's there in this building, sort of adjacent to where you're at. So there is a magic user of some sort in there. But other than that, you detect no other magic in the area.
I do relay this information, and I kind of want to, like, eye the building that we're next to up. Is it? Does it look like a residence, or is it like?
Yeah, it could be like so. There's stone buildings on the other side of you. There's some railing with windows towards the upper levels. So it does look like it could be a residence of some sort.
Okay, and in this world, magic is it usually not widely used? I guess.
It's only sanctioned by the government. So government officials can use it, and that's about it.
Okay.
So, but it's entirely possible. I mean, there are still magic users in the world. There are people who work for the government, and they are allowed to use magic with the right paperwork. There are also people like yourself who can use magic, and if they could be concealing it or whatever. There aren't there aren't a lot of like magic patrols in the city necessarily, because everyone who's in the city should be sanctioned and papered. Should be. That doesn't mean that they necessarily are, because obviously you're in the city. You're in the city. You're unsanctioned and unpapered. So
Valid. Okay. I do relay the information, but I'm good with just letting it go.
Yep. All right. So then are y'all good to sort of make camp for the night then, or not camp for the night, but for the next couple of hours, sort of hang out in the alley?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. And so we will then pick up next time. in the alleyway and make your continued trek to the entrance of the Thieves Guild to find out more.
Woohoo!
Nice.
Yeah, I know, pretty cool. So, what do you guys think? Did you have fun?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit different system. Obviously, in the D&D, it's a little more like loosey goosey, just sort of, do what you will. But it definitely leaves itself open to more sort of just user created fiction